enjoy this episode. And the reason I know that because everybody comes to me and says, Michelle, 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 I need help. And every business, no matter what industry you're in, always seems to have the same problem. And I call this aim, lack of aim. This is why it used to be when I started in this industry 22 years ago, 95% of businesses will go out of business. Now only 30% of businesses, new startups will go out of business. 95% of all startups will go out of business. Now it's only 30% of startups go out of business because the landscape has changed, the business landscape. Now it's business owners who have been in business over 10 years or longer are going out of business. 70% of business owners who have been in business for 10 years or longer are now going out of business because of lack of aim. Aim is always innovate and market. Innovate and market. So we have a special guest today who's really going to teach about marketing. And so many of my clients ask me, Michelle, do you have a great marketing resource? Do you have a great marketing resource? Who do you recommend? Who do you recommend? And let me tell you something. Like all of you, I've wasted a ton of money hiring the wrong marketing firm. So I want to introduce a very special guest that's part of my mastermind. And so he's here today. So Amel Kilic is the founder and CEO of GenTech Marketing, which is home to scalable revenue ecosystems, a proprietary marketing strategy that has a 98% success rate. 98%. So we're going to make him prove that, right? He has over 20 years of combined experience in the paid ad space. His company has helped thousands and thousands of companies double their revenue annually. Emil is also the author of the book, How to Grow Your Business Using Instagram, and currently in the process of publishing his second book, Limitless, discussing life principles to create a limitless life. In addition to being featured in Forbes, I've been in Forbes, so we have something in common there, Inc. and Entrepreneur. And he's also started to make regular appearances on TV, such as Bloom and multiple business-oriented podcasters. So he's really worked with a bunch of companies over the years. His team has worked with small companies making seven figures to Fortune 500 companies by developing the strategies that work at any stage that the business is in. So here's the bottom line. All of my listeners are building their business to exit rich. So we need to always aim, always innovate and market. So welcome to the show, Emil. Happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit about your life, your story. How did you end up in America, and how did you end up in marketing?
Yeah, so originally from Bosnia, and I was born in 1992, and the war in Bosnia started in 1992. So it
Ooh,
was literally like 3 months after the war started. And then we escaped to Germany. I was roughly 6 months old, and I lived in Germany for 8 years. And after 8 years, they said, okay, it was nice having you here, but you have to go back home. And Bosnia still wasn't safe. So it wasn't safe, but also didn't have a future. Obviously, it was war torn. There wasn't a future. There wasn't a good government that had potential. So at that time, America was still accepting refugees and people from Europe. So we decided to move to America. And my mom always says that this was probably the best decision she ever made, just because of the opportunities and the things that we were able to achieve. But being foreign, your parents tell you to become a doctor or a lawyer. She pushed me down the medical route. I knew that I didn't want to be roughly 40 years old and then just starting to make money. And I didn't want to have $300,000 in debt. So my game plan was like, okay, let me find something that is a little bit below the doctor. Let me go for my registered nurse license, like RN. And in the meantime, I'll try to find something on the side that has been proven to work for me that I can tell my mom, hey, I have a business that is generating me money. There's potential here. Are you open to just letting me quit the medical field completely and just focus on
mhm.
this? So that's where I am today. Gave up the medical side completely and shifted over to the business world.
Okay. So, and so you came to the U.S. at what age?
I was 8.
8.
Yeah,
Okay. So you grew up here and went to college here, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And how did you get into marketing?
So while I was in the kind of medical journey, I had a close friend that had a knowledge-based software company, and that was the first time I was exposed to the business world. So while I was in school, being foreign, you're always scraping to make some money. And I used to sell things on the street, like fake watches, fake sunglasses, just like fake things. And he said, dude, you're really good at selling, but how about you sell a legitimate service? How about you come work for me and work in my sales department? And that's the first time I sold. So my biggest client at that time was Harvard. So I actually closed
You-
Harvard.
So so you were the guy that would hustle us on the street to sell us a fake Louis Vuitton or a fake Gucci
Hey, I had to
or
make
a
a
fake
living.
Okay, so go back to Harvard.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was my biggest on client that actually closed. So I was
Was
like,
Harvard.
yeah, and
How
for
did you close Harvard?
so just sales process. They came in as a lead, and I saw their domain was, I think her name at that time was like Ashley or something. It said Ashley at harvarduniversity.com. And I said,
Uh-huh.
there's no way it's Harvard. So I hopped in a meeting, and there was 3 or 4 of them in that meeting. And I just went down our sales process. I mean, it was a knowledge-based software company that my friend had. It was a really good service. So all I had to do was really explain the benefits to them. And, I was able to lock them in. But that's when I realized, hey, I can make money and a lot more money working with professionals versus selling fake stuff on the streets. Um,
So you can make money doing the legal way, right?
right?
Selling counterfeit.
And that's the first time I made some decent money in my life. I was roughly, what, 22 at that time. And
Uh-huh.
I always knew in the back of my head, I was going to finish like nursing because I wanted to make sure that my mom knew that, like, hey, I have like a secure job. But in the meantime, I was always trying like a new business. So I wanted to be my
Mhm.
own CEO. I wanted to be my own business owner. And at first, 3 or 4 businesses, they failed. So there were some of them were in tech space, some of them were in the e-com space. And I realized that they all failed because I didn't know marketing. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, let me sit down and let me figure out how to grow my business using
Well,
marketing.
I think we should pause right there because
Yeah.
that's a huge point. They failed because you didn't know marketing. And so many business owners fail because business owners don't understand marketing. They don't know what marketing company to hire. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know if they're getting a good company or a bad company. We've all wasted a tremendous amount of money, me too, hiring the wrong marketing firms. So this is really, really important. I want listeners to pay attention to.
Of
So go
course.
ahead.
Because the thing is, I mean, we get clients as well. They come to us and they say, hey, I have an amazing product, but no one's purchasing. And it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
your product can be amazing. There's probably like a system out there and a business owner that developed a better software than Netflix and Amazon and Facebook, but it never blew up because they didn't know how to put it out there. Same thing happened to me. At that time, I thought I developed the best 3 businesses in the world, and they all failed because no one knew about it. Um,
Hmm.
so I really took the time to learn on how to scale my own business. And I realized a lot of business owners need help scaling their business because they're at a point where they have an idea of
Hmm.
what they want to develop, and they have like a goal of, okay, I want to take the idea to $3 million a year. Okay, how do we get there? And that's where we go in there and fill that gap of idea to 3
Hmm.
million in revenue. Now, we do work with clients that have a system in place already because then we can scale it. But still, at that moment, it's still kind of like a fresh start for them. Um,
Hmm.
so our main goal is like really understanding the sales process, going in there and scaling their business through a predictable method.
Awesome. Okay. What makes you different than everybody else? Because look, I've wasted over $250,000 hiring one marketing firm that said, "Oh, we're going to give you results. We're going to give you results. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." Why don't we probably start with, maybe what are some of the biggest mistakes that that business owners make when it comes to marketing? Maybe we should start there.
obviously doing your research with who you partner with as a marketing company. Um, as a marketing company, obviously you're really good at marketing, right? So if a novice business hops on a meeting with a marketer, the marketers know how to sell their service. And I see it happen over and over again. They get sold, they sign up for their service, and it doesn't work. And then it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. Next time, there might be a good opportunity to partner with a marketing company, but they're afraid to take that step because they had a horrible experience.
Mhm.
My biggest thing is really doing a research and looking at their honest case studies. Not the case studies where it's just random numbers where it says 7x return, 20 booked appointments. What does that truly mean? Like, how much revenue have they generated for their clients? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters, the revenue. That's why in our case studies, we actually do showcase revenue for our clients. Even sometimes our clients don't like sharing that number. We just kind of ask them to be open to just allowing us to use their like case study to showcase that, like, hey, we know what we're doing. The second thing is really like interviewing the team that you're like deciding to work with, because marketing involves the full process of, okay, it's a cold lead or someone seeing your brand for the first time to them converting and paying you. Now, in order to make all that happen, there's so many steps in that process. And a lot of
Mhm.
marketing companies, for example, just focus on the initial step, which is I have the cold audience, I got them to see your ad, and they convert it as a lead. Okay, great. But how are you working the lead? Who's nurturing the lead? Is the lead even qualified? What's your sales process like? What's your upsell? Do you know your lifetime value? And the reason like we are successful is because we were a new marketing company as well 5 years ago. We didn't understand everything. But then we asked ourselves, okay, we have a client that's in the same industry. So two clients in the same industry. This one's doing super well and this one is not. Why? Because this one has a full process in place, while this one just reached out to us. We launched ads. It's the same ad, same format, same copywriting, everything, but he's not hitting the same revenue goal. It's because he's missing everything else. So what we decided
Because
is,
he doesn't have, well, you got to stop there, Emil.
mhm,
So he doesn't have his processes, right?
exactly,
So
exactly.
processes, if all my listeners have been following me in my book, Exit Rich, I talk about the 6 P's. Process is the third P.
It's
So
huge.
it's very important to have those processes. So go ahead, explain the processes
Yeah, I
in your
mean,
market.
so ultimately speaking, when it comes to the process, so just to go back, what we did is we ended up building the process that we can copy and paste for businesses. That's why, like
Hmm.
before this call, I told you our success rate is 100%, but in the intro you said 98%. I just don't like saying 100 because it just sounds misleading. But the reason like we are 100% like accurate like in our marketing is because we are able to implement this whole system that has proven to work. And all you have to do at the end, because the only thing we don't do for our clients is actually close the deal. But if we see that like, hey, you're getting qualified booked appointments, but you're not closing, we'll still sit down with them and see what we need to improve in their sales process. But when it comes to the scalable revenue ecosystem, it comes down to 3 to 4 main sections. So the first one is the awareness side and the ad side. So this works for any business. So any listener that's looking to replicate our system, I'm literally going to explain what we do that you guys can replicate. So within the ad, within the first step of someone seeing your business for the first time, they need to understand what is unique about you and what is your offer. So there's 100 businesses in the same industry. There's 100 marketers. There's 100 people that help businesses exit rich, right? But
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, there's
well,
not
let's say
100
exit.
people exit rich. No, that's not good.
But
There's
let's say exit. Maybe not exit
competitors.
rich. But there's something unique about
Yeah,
you.
no, there's only one extra rich queen, and that's me. Go ahead.
But there's something unique about you. And that's the thing. Like most business owners don't take the time to understand what's unique about their business because we all have something that separates us. So we
Mhm.
take the time to find out exactly why are you unique and what offer do you provide that no one else in the space can offer? Because then you separate yourself from pitching a service to offering a solution that they can't go to a competitor and say, well, someone else is offering me the same thing for a cheaper price or something, because they can't find another scalable revenue ecosystem. We're the only ones that developed it. And even though they might replicate the process, they still can't replicate every single foundation that we have for it. So the first thing is separate yourself from every other person in the industry.
So really now your superpower. I call that your superpower.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And then really pitching that within the ad. After that, we tap into the copywriting. So with marketing, everything's about the copywriting. And when I say copywriting, calling out the pain points for your audience. So, for us, many times the pain point is businesses hitting plateaus and not being able to scale. So we offer the solution of, hey, are you facing an issue surpassing your plateau? Are you facing an issue of taking your business from 3 to 5 million? Take a look at our scalable revenue ecosystem. So now I plugged in a pain point and I plugged in my unique mechanism. And then the offer is, if you don't make your money back within the 90-day program, we're going to work for free until you do. So that's our guarantee. And when you have that foundation, we use the same copywriting for every single other step in that process. So even a salesperson, whoever is doing your sales, needs to have the same terminology while they're in the client meetings. But between that, for example, we have the ad, we send them to a landing page, like a funnel, where we have a video sales letter explaining just a little bit more about what you guys do or what we do. We have testimonials. So the whole point here is to disqualify the people that aren't qualified. A lot of our clients are busy. The thing that I hate the most is hopping on meetings with people that aren't qualified to work with us. That's why, for our clients, we focus on disqualifying. So they can't book a meeting unless they truly are qualified to work with you.
So let's go back to the copywriting, because I've always said that copywriting is an art.
It is. It is.
It's not a science, it's an art. And so many people say, oh, I'm a copywriter, I'm a copywriter, I'm a copywriter. No, you're not. And there's very few really, really, really good copywriters. Like Perry Belcham with Ryan Dice is probably one of the best copywriters in the country. And so what makes a good copywriter from a non-good copywriter? How do you have the best copywriters on your team? Talk a little bit about copywriting, because everybody thinks it's so simple and it's really not. Copywriting is more difficult than writing a book, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm writing my second book and I hate writing. I hate writing the books, but I just want to share my knowledge.
I'm on my book.
But copywriting is not simple, but I think we overcomplicate it. So there's three main components, and it depends on the audience that you're speaking with as well. You need to have their terminology. But I think if you dumb it down and have your copywriting at a third grade level, everyone's going to understand it. Some people think that you need to overcomplicate it so that only a certain spectrum of your target audience understands the terminology in order to get the qualified booked appointments. It's not true. All you have to do is specifically for the copywriting that we do is call out the pain points and mention your solution. So a lot of copywriters or marketers pitch their service way too much, and they don't call out the audience and they don't call out their pain point. So in our ads, if we're targeting, for example, we work with a lot of life insurance agents. In our ads, we say, life insurance agents, are you having an issue with quality leads? So if you're scrolling through Facebook or LinkedIn, that speaks to you if you're a life insurance agent and you're struggling with quality leads, that you're buying from lead vendors that are just selling leads to 10 people with the same lead information. That's the most simple way of copywriting. And then the more you can elaborate on their pain points, the more that you can elaborate on speaking and calling out the audience, and then offering a solution at the end, more of like a call to action. That's all that we focus on in our copywriting.
So it's really grab their attention, Make sure you address the pain points and a CTA call to action.
Yeah. And then offer like with the CTA, like I am better solution, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Click learn more to learn about our scalable revenue ecosystem. And you want to also include some testimonials and some numbers where at the end we'll say, you know, click learn more to learn about our scalable revenue ecosystem and how it has helped, for example, Eric scale from 50 agents to 150 agents within 3 months. So just including like a quick little testimonial of the client that you're working with, just to show your credibility as well in the space.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So go back to what you were saying before I had you go back to copywriting.
No, you're fine because copywriting is the biggest thing. As long as you figure out that main copywriting sentence, and all of this
Uh-huh.
should fit in a sentence. If it's more than a sentence, it's way too complicated. But then we can elaborate when we like go down the sales process. So in the funnel, we have like a video that's roughly 3 to 4 minutes where you're explaining a little bit more elaborated on what the ad itself was. So in the ad, we called out the audience, we pitched them, we told them exactly what we do, how we can help, for example. In the VSL, you're just doing a 3-minute version of that same process, but you're diving deeper into what makes you unique and what separates you from everyone else. And you talk about 3 or 4 different case studies within that video, explaining what you did for them.
So you're also placing a video in that ad.
So yeah, the main ad is a video, and sometimes we do photos and videos just to change it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when,
Okay, and I'm sure you test,
of
right?
course,
Yes, test.
you need to
Okay.
always test because I'll throw in like an example. I know a lot of our clients come to us and they face this issue as well. So they have established business, they're running marketing ads, the ads are doing super well, and out of nowhere, their sales just plummets because they haven't tested new ads to replace the ones that are working. Because ads are they're like workers, for example. Someone might be doing really well, and then maybe they get married, they get lazy, maybe they get a child, and their performance goes down. That's why you always need someone to replace them. And we know that. So this is why we're always testing with 20% of our clients like budget, we dedicate to testing. So in case this one dies out, we have something else to throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
So within the VSL funnel, we have the video, we have a few more testimonials, and then we're just saying, hey, if you don't have this budget, if you don't fit this criteria, do not click the next button. So for example,
Well, you know what I find is that they always click the next button.
there's gonna be people that do. It's frustrating, but we tell them
It's
like,
like when you tell somebody not to do something, they want to do it,
sure,
right?
they want to learn about it. They're
Right.
curious.
Well, they want to do it, like you say. Don't eat the cookie. They're gonna go eat the cookie.
So this is why we know that 10% of the leads that go through are going to not be qualified. Like we know that. We can't have 100% accuracy on the quality of leads. But a lot of our clients are going from 50% unqualified to 10%. Like they'll take that. But you can't be 100% quality of leads through like this process. Because there are going to be people that go through it no matter what. You can't control it.
Right. Right. But the goal is to get more quality leads than not,
Of course.
obviously.
And then
Okay.
upon them scheduling the appointment, we have a CRM. People say they have a CRM, but it's kind of like having like a Ferrari. So you can have a
So what
Ferrari.
is the CRM? Explain the CRM because there's some startups on the listening to this that might not even know what a CRM
Sure.
is.
So what does it stand for? It's customer relationship management. So that's what the CRM stands for. I was just reading the comment as well. But ultimately speaking, the CRM, as we explain it, is like having a Ferrari. Some people just leave it in the garage so that it looks nice. They say, hey, I bought a Ferrari. It has an amazing engine, but they never use it. So in order to really make sure that the CRM is utilized correctly, most people need to be trained on it, and they have to understand on how to like ultimately use it to their benefit. Because what we do is we create a sequence there. As soon as a lead comes in, we have a 25-day sequence where they're getting text messages and emails, just nurturing them. This isn't like a sales text, sales like email. we're just sending case studies, informational stuff to keep them hot within your pipeline. But the thing is, so many people get leads and they'll call the lead and maybe they didn't answer because maybe they were busy, or maybe they were still thinking about it because only 3% of people are willing to purchase their service at any given time. But there's a 70% group that would be open to your service, but we're not hammering them down. So the pipeline is super important within like a company. So having like stages where your salespeople go in there and the CEO can oversee and say, okay, we have these leads in a new category. We have these leads in contacted. We have these leads in qualified. We have these leads in proposal sent or like invoice sent. And then you need to, like, every morning, you should be going in there and saying, okay, what's going on with this lead? What's going on with this lead? And then making sure that you're working those leads. The CRM itself what we see has increased a business's revenue by 20% just by implementing CRM. So when we are able to take this full setup and really implement it into a business, you can see where the value is. And then all the client is doing, or all the business owner is doing, is just hopping on those meetings and updating the CRM. That's the only thing that we don't do. But everything prior to that, we do for them.
Yeah.
And then they can do it for themselves as well. Like, I can explain everything. You guys can literally just replicate this process and you'll see like a change.
All right. Is that the whole process?
That's it.
That's it. And then one thing you said that you offer a guarantee. And some companies, that's what I always told the head of our mastermind, that you should make them guarantee their work when they're pitching their services. So I love guarantees. I love it when business owners put their money where their mouth is. And but not all businesses can do that, So what is another approach to a guarantee?
So the guarantee is just there so that people feel they trust you with their money. That's all it is. So typically, if someone doesn't trust you and say, hey, I'll guarantee it, it fills that gap. The other way you can do it is through credibility. Why do we get featured on Forbes and PR and go on news channels and talk? Just for credibility. So that people are like, okay, this guy or this girl or lady or business, whatever, knows what they're talking about. So I think if you can combine all of that, you dominate the space. But if you can't guarantee, at least be very, very credible. Because if you see Amazon selling you something, you're not going to ask for a guarantee. They're trustworthy, right? You'll just buy their product or service.
Yeah. The problem is their vendors are not.
Yeah, I mean that's like the difference. But
they're buying from their vendors, and it's a
I feel like all of them offer like a guarantee, because even when you buy a product or service, like they'll say, hey, if there's something wrong with the packaging or the item, like send it back. We'll take care of it.
Yeah. And so I agree. Credibility absolutely 1000% goes a long way. That's why you write books too, right? For lead generation, credibility, for exposure. Larry, who commented, he said, people don't want to read a book. Well, Larry, I'm going to agree to disagree with you, because lots of people have read Exit Rich. But I do agree that people want information very quickly, and video seems to be the way to go. So more and more business owners need to get with the program and start innovating and marketing and creating videos and TikTok, YouTube, putting them everywhere. What is an example of an irresistible offer? Because you always hear, like Tony Robbins always says, make that irresistible offer that they can't say no to. What is that irresistible offer?
I mean, I just recently I was part of another mastermind here locally, and they say the offer should scare you. So people will offer
scare you.
As a business owner, it should scare you. So people will offer an offer that they're comfortable with. So it's like, sure, I'll offer this. It doesn't hurt me if it doesn't happen, but then it's not strong enough. What's an offer that, scares you? And that's a good offer, because the viewer or the reader or the person on the other side of the screen or the phone, wherever they are, they need to be like, wow, I've never had this presented to me before. I want to sign up. So it needs to be a wow factor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the reason our ROI guaranteed is it's not a crazy wow, but it showcases that, hey, we're going to dedicate everything that we can to make sure this is successful because most other marketing companies wouldn't do that. So you have to find something that separates yourself from your other competitors. But to answer your question, try to get the wow factor and try to find something that scares you.
Do you have an example of one that you worked with
So
clients on?
um, there's an example of one that I don't know when it went live, but it was a commercial of a real estate brokerage firm, and their offer was, if we don't sell your house, I think within 30 days, we'll buy it from you. So that was a very powerful offer for them.
Yeah, because that's scary.
Obviously, it is scary, but like obviously there's contingencies there as well. So it's like, okay, they'll buy it from you, but what, 30% less than what's listed at, you know? So I'm sure they're still protected, but from the reader's side, they're like, oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. Let me reach out to them.
But from the business
Um,
owner side, you want to be ethical. You want to, be true to that offer. You want to make sure that you fulfill
of
that
course,
offer.
of course. And I think transparency is the key to every business's success. So
Hmm.
if you do offer an offer, just be super transparent because you don't want people coming back and saying they lied about what their guarantee and offer was.
So why do so many marketing companies fail? I always say, like, marketing people too, I always say, look, if a marketing person is responding to your ad, they're probably
Hmm.
not very good at marketing. If they were, they would already have a position, they would already have a
Yeah,
job, and or they would own the company, right? And so, I always say it's hard to find good marketing people when you're trying to place ads and recruit.
of course.
But marketing companies are very, very difficult to find good marketing companies. Why is that?
I think because the level of entry is super low. Um, anyone can watch a YouTube video on how to run Facebook ads. They create an LLC for what is in Florida, $150.
Hmm.
They create a website on Wix for $50 a month, and they have a business and marketing company now.
Hmm.
So does that person have any back end kind of credibility, or have they gone through the trenches to showcase that they can like actually grow like a client's business? They don't. This is why I even mentioned like earlier, everyone that looks to hire someone, like hire like a marketing company, you guys need to like vet them, like really understand how long have they been in a space, who have they worked with, what's their expertise, and so forth. Because the biggest value for a marketing company, or anyone that like partners up with anyone that's focused on growing a business, is that person's or business's ability to say, okay, I've faced this issue before, I know how to overcome it. Because the only reason a business partners up with a marketing company, sure, is to hand off the workload, but it's also to skip the learning curve. Because most businesses go through the same kind of issues and learning curve. When
Hmm.
you partner up with a marketing company that has possibly worked with someone in the same industry, they can say, wait, we've already gone through all this. We don't need to test it with you. Let's just implement what's working. This is why I always like say, ask if they worked with someone within your industry and let them showcase what they did for that client.
And then not only that, but also check their references, right?
100%.
Check the references
100%.
and see what they really grew the revenue to. And I always like it too when marketing companies are willing to share some risk. When they
Hmm.
charge, a certain management fee, and then they'll take a percentage of your revenue growth.
Of
And I always
course.
think that that's good if they'll discount their fees and take a percentage of revenue growth and discount and then take off all the marketing costs from that. Because that
Hmm.
means that they really have some skin in the game, they believe in your company, and they believe in the success that it'll have.
Of course. I agree. I
So,
agree.
what other ninja secrets do you have in the marketing world?
um, one quote that we use all the time is, if you're looking to save money by stopping marketing, it's like trying to stop your watch to save time. it doesn't work. Everyone needs to market because ultimately speaking, the reason that big companies go out of business is because they stopped innovating and stopped implementing new strategies and marketing strategies that allows them to keep on growing. So
Mm-hmm.
my biggest fear is that there's going to be another marketing company that comes in and tries to take the market share. And the only way I can control that is by being so much ahead of them at every stage of the business that they can't catch up. So that's my recommendation for every business. Really always innovating. And as I mentioned, the
What did I
20%,
say about AIM? Always innovate and market.
exactly. And I think it's
Always innovate
important.
and market. Yeah,
It's,
absolutely. And when COVID hit, I had a lot of clients panicking. Everybody panicked, and the last thing you should do is panic. But one of the biggest things I did is I went through the financials with my clients and I said, okay, what can we cut? Okay, we don't need a
mhm.
water fountain in the office. We can cut that,
Yep.
right? We don't need to have pizzas delivered every Friday. We can cut that. We can cut this and this and this and this. And they always wanted to cut marketing. I'm like, no, marketing is the last thing you cut. You do want to go through and audit your marketing, do a thorough
I
audit of
agree.
marketing and see what's working and what's not. Get rid of not what's not working in your marketing, but double down on what is. And this is when you should spend more money because other people are going to tighten their belts and they're going to decrease their marketing budget or stop it altogether. And you can't stop marketing. When you stop innovating and stop marketing, that's when you start dying and you die. And so Chaps asked, what is the next marketing trend?
Um, I kind of love and hate this
Question.
theory of the next trend because I love the question because you always want to stay ahead of the curve, right? But the marketing space moves so fast that even things that are old in the online space, which might be just a year old, still many times has not been implemented by the big corporations. There's still a lot of companies that come to us and they're saying, hey, we're still doing TV ads, we're still doing flyers, we're thinking about maybe tapping into Facebook ads. And
Mm-hmm,
Facebook ads have been around for quite some time now.
mm-hmm,
So I don't like hopping into the next trends. I like to dominate what's currently working because us as humans, we're always looking for the next shiny object thing. Okay, I have a car, I want a better car. I have a house, I want a better house. I have a relationship, I want a better relationship. You always want like something better
and the
instead of
grass
really,
is not greener on the other side, right, Emil?
it's always like that. And it's good to have that mindset because it makes you want to like explore. But I feel like the strongest and the most powerful foundations are built when you invest a lot more into what's working and what you have working. So many times I'll ask my clients, hey, what are you guys doing at this moment for marketing? Are you guys doing Facebook ads? Are you doing affiliate marketing? How can we multiply that before we tap into new things? So just to like give my side of like the marketing side's view of that, it's double down on what's working. But to answer Chap's like question, what's the next marketing trend? Obviously, we see so platform-wise, we see TikTok obviously kind of taking some space. Obviously, the government is looking to ban TikTok, so we'll see how that lays out.
Yeah, I was
But
going to ask what's your philosophy on TikTok now?
I mean, we have clients making money off of it, so while it's out there, we'll keep on squeezing it, and then when it's gone, hey, we're gonna go back into what's the best converting platform. So
We just need an American adoption of TikTok.
I mean,
I don't
it
know.
is what it is.
It is what it
So
is. Do you think the government's going to shut them down?
I don't know. I don't know. They say a lot of things that they're going to do. I feel like there's some key players that also make that decision. So I know there was a bill that recently got passed in regards to the government's access to people's accounts and their like privacy policies with people's like cameras. And I mean, obviously we knew they always had access to pretty much everything around us, but there's a bill that just recently got passed in regards to that. So they're definitely going to have more access to all the information out there in the world. Um, because the more information you have, the more money you make in this world. That's simply what it is. Amazon, marketing, all that is built on data. The more data you have, the more powerful you are.
So it seems like the best platform for you has been Instagram. Is that correct?
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram. Okay. And is
And
that
it's not
mostly for B2 or is that mostly for B2C?
for all, because it's our job to test all platforms at all given times. And then we recommend the best converting for our clients. So at this moment, Facebook and Instagram is still the top performing one. And then Google is second. And then third at the moment is TikTok. And then fourth would be LinkedIn and so forth. I know a lot of people love LinkedIn. They say, well, all my B2B relationships are on LinkedIn. Yes, but it does not convert. Trust me, we've tested it. And even we thought the same thing, but it just does not convert as good as Facebook does.
Or Instagram?
Yes.
Interesting. All right. And, they say you have to see an ad how many times before somebody responds?
Roughly 7 times.
7 times. So, and
Yeah,
it's really hard to rise. I always say it's hard to rise above the noise, right? Because you got so
agreed.
many people placing ads and, there's so much coming at a business owner at one time. How do you rise above the
Agreed.
noise?
Calling them out. There's a study where if if someone is in a crowded space and someone calls out your name, you're more than likely to hear that. Amongst all the noise, we recognize our own identity, and if you recognize it, you're more likely to get triggered by it. So the more you can tap into what I was talking about earlier, where you call them out, the more likely they're going to hear and see your ad.
When you call out their pain points?
Yeah, but even before that, you call out like at least what their role is, because obviously you don't know everyone's name, but you
Yeah.
know who you're targeting. So for us, it was life insurance. So when I say, "Hey, life insurance agents," they'll at least give me 2 seconds so they can see, "Hey, what does this guy want?" So
Right.
really honing down to calling out your audience, understanding your audience.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's all great advice. Any other ninja tips you got?
I mean, there's so much information out there. My biggest tip is understanding that in the business world, all we're doing is turning out fires. So as a CEO, as a business owner, as a CMO, a CFO, it doesn't matter. You come up, you log into your computer, and you just see a whole bunch of things that you have to resolve. Um, that's marketing as well. In that journey, while you're resolving, you're progressing, but that's marketing as well. Just like when you're working out, you can't go to the gym once and then get upset that maybe you didn't hit your goal. And then maybe you're going 3 months and then you hit a plateau and then maybe you have to adjust your food. Understand that marketing and business and everything in life follows the same trend, but some things we give up on and some don't. Like I don't want anyone giving up on the possibility of what their business can achieve because they maybe had an issue with their marketing. All you're doing is improving. And we have a 1% rule within our business. Whatever you do, just improve it by 1%. And over time, it'll continue compounding. And that's how everyone can scale.
So don't quit. So
Never,
many people quit.
never.
3 Feet from Gold. There's a book called 3 Feet from Gold, written by my friend Greg Reed. So you came from Bosnia, you went to Germany, and then you came to the United States. So you've obviously had a lot of challenges to overcome. What drives you? What made you so successful? There's so many people that go through life and say, well, I would be successful if I didn't have this childhood, or I'd be successful if this person didn't do this to me,
Yeah,
or if I would have had that opportunity, or if my father didn't leave, or if this or that. It's always a but, right? And, everybody's got them, everybody's got big butts. So, what is the key to your success?
I think the people that are giving out the bus and excuses are able to and they're privileged to have excuses. A lot of people don't have the privilege to make up excuses because, when we came to the States, we had $200. Excuses weren't going to feed me and my mom. Like she was raising me by myself, by herself. Um, so the biggest driver for me, and I feel like the biggest driver for a lot of people is pain. So whenever like I'm sure a lot of people feel this as well. You have a goal that you set, And then when you hit that goal, your happiness doesn't grow that much. Weirdly enough, you might have a goal. For example, my goal was to buy a Lamborghini. Literally, as soon as I bought it, I wasn't any happier, just like any financial goal that I hit. But every time I do hit that next level in my life, I'm pushing myself further away from what I fear and the pain. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, if I made 3 million this year, I'm $3 million away from not having anything. And then 5 years next year, I'm $5 million away from not having anything. So I think we're always trying to push that barrier of staying away from our fear. So biggest driver, I
So
think, for a
what?
lot of people is fear.
So yeah. So what about the people? So what? They have no fear. These people just
I
sit on the
think
couch all day, watch
I think
TV,
they're
live
comfortable.
on
They're
live
comfortable.
on welfare. They're comfortable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are comfortable. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that either. You know, some people just want a normal life where they clock in at 9, leave at 5, they have their 401k, they have their,
What about the people that don't even work? That are capable of working?
they probably don't want to. I feel like in America you can truly become anything that you want.
Hmm.
If you want to be unemployed, you'll be unemployed. If you want to be self-employed, like it's out there. The thing is like, do you want it or do you not? I think it's that simple.
Yeah,
I know we
it's
say,
all.
and I know like a lot of times we'll make up excuses saying, well, I want to be employed, but maybe I don't have a car, maybe I'm in the wrong neighborhood, maybe like my parents didn't teach me this. You can learn everything. There's Google, there's books, like you can literally do everything that you want.
There's a master class for everything, right?
There is. And there it's all free. That's the amazing thing. It's free.
Yeah, there's so much information. My God, you just hit the nail on the head. It used to be you had to go to the
I
library,
know.
books, and now you just can Google it. You can you can go to YouTube. You can find out how to do anything practically watching YouTube videos.
Agreed. Agreed.
Amazing. All right, any last minute thoughts?
From me, no. Does anyone else have maybe other questions?
Yeah, I encourage my audience to always ask questions. So, how can my listeners get in touch with you?
I am big on Instagram, so it's my first name, last name, so Amel Kilic. Um, my email is also Amel Kilic at Gentech Marketing. So those will be the two best platforms. I like Instagram because obviously they can see my day-to-day stuff, and then I can see their day-to-day stuff, and then we can kind of relate more.
Yep, and we'll make sure we include all that information in the show notes. Emil, you've been an amazing guest. You've dropped lots of golden nuggets. I hope some of you listeners have picked them up and you're going to implement them because knowledge is power, but implementation is key to success. So, thank you to all of our listeners. If you liked this episode, which I know you did, please share it with your influencers, with your circle of influencers, with your network, your fellow employees, entrepreneurs, etc. Get the message out there. Reach out to Emil and do business with him. And also, he gave you all the golden nuggets you need to improve your own marketing team, if that is your desire as well. So thank you for listening in, and we'll see you next Wednesday on another episode of Exit Rich. Thank you again, Emil.
Thank you, Michelle.